Well, another vaccine has demonstrated its worthiness to be added to the global arsenal being used to fight the pandemic. This time, Novavax, saying its vaccine proved to be more than 90% effective against the virus in a nearly 30,000 person trial. It was also shown to be 100% effective at preventing moderate or severe disease. And for more on its path forward to getting into the arms of patients around the globe, happy to bring on the CEO and president of Novavax, Stanley Erck, alongside Yahoo Finance's Anjalee Khemlani with us as well. Mr. Erck, appreciate you taking the time here to chat. I mean, when we look at this, obviously here in the U.S., there's a bevy of vaccines here available to us. But when you look around the globe, where are you seeing the biggest impact that Novavax can have with this one from the get-go?
Yeah, so good question. So in the U.S., so we ran the trial in the U.S., and what's interesting and what will be helpful globally is the fact that in this trial, although we got overall 90% efficacy, and 82% of the people they got sick from variants, and everybody's heard about variants and are worried about them. And since we ran the trial during the period in which variants were circulating, we were able to show efficacy against that. We got 93% efficacy against the variants of what they call variants of concern or variants of interest. And in addition, the vaccine that was circulating that's more like the original Wuhan strain, we've got 100% efficacy. So a great place to start. And so what does it mean for us for global distribution? So we've taken the position over the last year that we want to get the vaccine out globally, and that includes more than just the U.S. and Europe, but to low and middle income countries. And we've done that. We formed a partnership a year ago with the Serum Institute of India, which is the largest vaccine manufacturer in the world. They supply 65% of the children of the world vaccines and childhood vaccines, and so we partnered up with them because they know how to get vaccine into what are called the 92 AMC countries, which are the middle and low income countries. And so between us, we have pledged 1.1 billion doses of vaccine that will go to what's called the COVAX facility. It's the facility that the U.S. government just announced that they were giving 1 billion doses to. So we will supply them 1.1 billion doses. So most of our vaccine will go to low and middle income countries, which are desperately needed there. And then on top of that, we have advanced purchase orders from high income countries in a couple 100 million doses, and we'll get to those as well, starting in the fourth quarter or beyond. But it's big impact early on is going to be ex-U.S. And then ultimately, the big impact in the U.S. is going to be, I think, will be focused on using our vaccine as a booster next year, because everybody will need boosters.
Stan, I absolutely wanted to ask you about that. But first, let's focus on the ex-US, which is that focus for those 92 countries. You mentioned your partner, the Serum Institute. We saw how that partnership worked out for AstraZeneca and Oxford earlier on because it's continuing to be such a dire situation there. Do you see your vaccine playing a role and maybe falling under some of those same domestic pressures to circulate the vaccine in there first?
Sure. And so we have discussions going on with the Indian government because we want to have our vaccine that's made there shipped inside India, but also to support this COVAX commitment we have of $1.1 billion. And I believe that the Indian government is going to allow us to not only make the product in India, but for the COVAX facility and for all of our commitments. And so we have plants in the Czech Republic and in Spain and in the U.S. and Korea, where we can make product there for our COVAX. So it's quite an extensive network.
Well, and so let's bring it back to the U.S. I know you mentioned the booster market, and that's obviously a key market for pretty much any vaccine maker that gets authorized this year. But looking beyond that, there is still a large portion of the U.S., certainly in pockets where there has been hesitancy about the newness of the mRNA platform or hesitancy over the concerns with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. Do you see Novavax playing a role filling in there, or are you facing some of the same hesitancy issues?
No, I think I think that there will be a pocket. There is a pocket of people who are waiting for a vaccine that has the more traditional approach of a protein-based vaccine like we're using, and so when we get that approved, we'll be able to fill that demand.
And Stanley, following up on Anjalee's question there on the booster shots, a lot of questions right now about just how long the efficacy will last for those of us who have already been vaccinated. What does the booster market look like in the U.S. here? In looking months down the line, what does the fall look like in terms of the amount of those who are vaccinated and the additional booster shots that will be needed?
Yeah, I think, we don't know. The answer is we don't know everything yet because there's not enough time that's passed. But I think it's clear that we all have antibodies that decline over time because all vaccines do. And whether it's 6 months or a year, that it looks like the level has gone down enough that we can boost. We have boosted. Both in our non-human primate study that we started a year ago and vaccinated baboons and saw their antibody levels go very low, and then we boosted it a year later. They got tremendous responses, way higher than they got the first 2 doses. So it works. And so whether you have to have a boost every year or whether it's every 2 or 5 years, we'll find out over time. But I think it's going to be important for boosting.
Stan, talk to me about the manufacturing. I know that you've committed to the capacity of 150 million doses per month by the end of the year. Has anything changed in the past couple of months as we've seen different companies sort of branch out, in terms of delivering to various to various countries? Has the pressure on the supply chain decreased at all, or has it maintained?
No, I think that's a good point. We've been constrained for the past 6 months off and on by, we can't get some raw material, we can't get a depth filter that you need to filter the product in the manufacturing process, or you can't get 2,000-liter plastic bags to grow it in, and some really dramatic shortages. That's starting to even out. We what you would love to have in all of our 8 plants is 6 months of inventory of all the stuff, and we don't. We have weeks in some cases, and we have months in others, but it's getting better. And our expectations, and when we make this forecast that we can have 150 million doses running through our plants every month, we're expecting that we'll have the raw material supply straightened out by then. So we're pretty confident about that.
Yeah, and Stanley, just to wrap up here, when we talk about how it fits into your guys' role in this pandemic, thinking back to where it all began, there were some people, I don't want to say they were haters on Novavax, but doubters out there that you guys could get here. Now you prove them wrong. When it comes to your guys' payback on that and what you're trying to do, low and income countries doesn't sound like there's a lot of profitability opportunity around that. But how are you looking at it from your standpoint in a business perspective, and how profitable this is going to be for you guys if you are going to play that, and what boosters might do to maybe play a factor in that as well?
I think the problem gets solved when we show that we have a best-in-class vaccine, and if we start selling in the low-income countries first, so be it, and so the profits will come bigger later. But I think we've shown now that we have the potential to be widely called the best-in-class vaccine, and that's what we intend to develop over the long run.
Stanley Erck, Novavax CEO and President, appreciate you taking the time here to chat with us alongside Yahoo Finance's Anjalee Khemlani as well.